So Jiva, who runs the live stream on our Facebook, said, "What's the talk about tonight?" And I didn't really have a name, or I had a topic but not a name. So what do we end up calling it? The perfection of yoga. There you go, the perfection of yoga. What is? So I'm sure probably in this room there are many people here who go to yoga classes, or who may be practicing yoga in your own home, in your life. And as we look around the world, yoga is just, when you see articles about it in the newspaper, on the media, they usually describe it as being, like in America, it's a multi-million-dollar industry. Have you seen those kind of articles? They talk about yoga being a multi-million-dollar industry. And I always think how far away that is from the original intent of the yogis who actually devised and practiced and shared this wonderful gift of yoga throughout the millennium, a multi-million-dollar industry. Of course, they're talking about things such as clothing. Now, you've got to wear a certain kind of clothes, a certain brand of clothes when you do yoga. Otherwise, it's not really yoga. It's just something else. And there's yoga music. There's used to be yoga DVDs, but now there's downloads and, subscription websites you go to so you can do your yoga. All kinds of things. Yoga paraphernalia. There's yoga jewelry. You got any yoga jewelry? It's usually kind of really expensive stuff that costs about 50 cents in India, and they kind of sell it for about, $300 in the West. This is how, of course, if you go to some exclusive yoga studio, you can pay anywhere like $25, $35, $45 for a class. So when they kind of put it all together, they describe it as being a multi-million-dollar industry. So we want to talk a little bit about yoga and the perfection of yoga. So people, in life we have a tendency to do things because there is something in it for us, right? Generally speaking, there's something that we are going to get out of it. Society and our lives generally are benefit-driven. Benefit-driven. What benefit will I get? Like, why have we come here tonight? We're hoping to gain something. We're hoping to get some kind of benefit by being here instead of being somewhere else. You could be at a pub and you could be getting stonkered and, kind of floating around and feeling a bit high. So there's a certain benefit that we can get from that. You can go to some restaurant, we could have gone to some movie, we could have stayed at home and binged on some, TV series. In other words, we do things because there is some benefit we derive from it. Is that fair enough? And we don't do certain things because we feel we won't derive any benefit from it, therefore we don't do it. So when you look at, I'm generalizing because, this is a general, we have to generalize in a, situation like this. But if we generalize and you look about people who are advertising their yoga classes, their yoga studio, including Australian School of Meditation and Yoga, they will usually list some kind of benefit. Yoga for a flexible back, yoga for strength yoga, right? Yoga for so many different things. Yin yoga is good for softening and relaxing and calming the mind. And so there's a benefit connected to everything. And then, they have workshops. So you can go to workshops where you get benefits as well. So you have a headstand workshop or a handstand workshop. Yeah? Maybe many of you have been to these, right? And they also have scorpion workshops. Anyone here do the scorpion? It's pretty intense. It's pretty intense, in quotes, yoga pose. And what's the benefit you get from that? Well, you're probably the only person who can do that in the whole studio. And you can show off at parties. When someone hears that you do yoga, you can show them the scorpion. And if you don't know what it is, Google it. And there's many kind of what we can maybe describe as extreme, in quotes, yoga poses or yoga asanas. So we can get all these different benefits from it. So what we want to look at is so all these different branches of yoga and yoga practices will bring a certain benefit into our life. There is absolutely no doubt. If you engage regularly in yoga asanas, your body, you'll be much more comfortable in your body. It will work better. All kinds of, again, you can list, this is good for your stomach, this is good for your lungs, this is good for your kidneys, and, there's all kind of things. And if you do certain, bandhas and mudras, and if you do certain pranayams, and you use certain props, and, you get someone to really push you deeply into a pose, or if you do, yoga at, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, there's all kinds of benefits you'll get from doing that. And there may be some truth to this. Stand on your head, you'll get more intelligent. Stand on your hands, you'll get arthritis in your wrist later on in life. There's all kind of benefits you can get from certain kind of yoga poses. A yoga diet, like a yoga lifestyle, also includes diet. Healthy, clean kind of diet. So you'll have a clearer mind, your skin will be clearer. On and on. I could talk all night about the benefits of the different types of yoga. And these are all good. And at ASMY, we teach yoga asanas. We teach simple pranayama. We teach a yoga lifestyle because of the many benefits that are derived from it. And we'd like to encourage you to actually add as much as possible of the yoga lifestyle to your life, and you will lead a more harmonious, balanced, a better kind of life, healthier, happier life. But what we want to look at today is the title that we came up with for tonight's talk, The Perfection of Yoga. So let me give you some of the downsides of all that good stuff that I talked about. Now, they're all good. But even if you can, stand on your head. Even if you can do handstands. Even if you can do the double scorpion. Anyone know what a double scorpion is? Just come and see me, I'll teach you later. For a price. And you can do all these amazing things. There is a time in our life, in this body, where they will be of completely no use and no value to me whatsoever. They will not help me at all. And it will be impossible that I can do, I'll be flat out doing, what do you do at the end of a yoga class? What's it called? Asana, yeah. That's about the only yoga pose you'll be able to do. So really learn it well. In other words, lying on your back with your eyes closed. This is called the moment of death. Did you realise that that's going to happen? This is going in an area I hadn't planned, but that's where it's going. Did you realise that that's actually something that's going to happen to each one of us? Has that kind of dawned? Usually it's something we kind of push to the side a little bit, or a lot, and just, in quotes, live in the moment, be in the moment. But this will happen. And at that time, you won't be able to do even the simplest of yoga asanas. You will not be able to control your breath at all. The breath will be controlling you as the body begins to shut down. So the perfection, the ultimate benefit of yoga concerns us, who we actually are, our consciousness. Because the state of our consciousness at the time of leaving this body, which is the reality of what death is, for the living being there is never birth nor death. The living being is eternal and ever existing. The living being is undying. This is the nature of the self. So we are not our bodies, and we are not our mind. They are like clothes which we wear, or also describe it as being like vehicles which we are driving. So we need to see the whole yoga system in its perspective. All the different practices of yoga are they are part of a complete system. They have their place. So in the same way that most of us may have a car or two, or even if all you have is a bicycle, you know that you are not your car, and you know that you are not your bicycle or your motor scooter or whatever it is. So even though you know that is not you, it is actually a very valuable thing because you use it to travel through this world, right? So your car. So although you know you are not your car, does it mean that you neglect your car? Well, unfortunately for some people, they do. But then it doesn't last very long, nor does it run very smoothly. Similarly, we are not our bodies. Does that mean that we shouldn't care for it? There is no need. We will reach a point where we cannot use it anymore and we must leave it behind. It's either too old or it's been smashed up in an accident or some such. Diseased. In other words, it gets rusty and it can't be fixed anymore. Does that mean that we neglect this vehicle of the body? No. In yoga, the body, the mind, the breath, all of these things are seen as valuable tools which I, the Atma, the Self, can use in my journey through life. And where is that journey? A journey leads to somewhere. This journey of yoga leads to enlightenment, self-realization, spiritual perfection. This is the ultimate goal of yoga. This is the perfection of yoga, is self-realization. This is what it's all about. And all of the things such as yoga asanas, breathing, yoga lifestyle, whatever degree we apply to our life, these are all meant to assist me in achieving the ultimate benefit of yoga, the perfection of yoga. They are not the end in themselves. To become a yoga master in the sense of yoga asana master is not the goal of yoga, where you can do all the really far out stuff and people come and interview you and take pictures of you for the yoga magazines. And you're able to charge a couple of $1,000s or more to give a workshop so that you can do all this stuff. That is, in fact, has very little to do with the ultimate benefit and the perfection of yoga, unless it is seen and used for its ultimate benefit. So by keeping the body fit and healthy and the mind calm and relaxed, this allows me to focus on the ultimate benefit, which is to develop spiritually. Otherwise, it is no more than glorified gymnastics. Is that a little bit hard on it? I know it is, but it's true. And it's my job to say that which is true. So, the perfection of yoga is to not only cultivate a healthy body and mind, but a change in heart, to purify my consciousness, to develop my spiritual nature, to achieve perfection in yoga. Just on a slight side note here, the reality is that one can achieve perfection in yoga without ever needing to do yoga asanas. It is possible to achieve perfection in yoga without doing any yoga asanas or pranayama at all, because it is a state of consciousness. And our consciousness is not the body or the mind. Consciousness is a symptom of the self, of the Atma, the eternal living being who is temporarily sitting in these bodies, covered by a mind. So what does this mean, spiritual consciousness? It is inseparable from that which every single living being is looking for. Pardon me. Everybody is looking for yoga. It doesn't matter what our age, what our nationality is, what our religion may be, our sex, our marital status, nothing. There is something which is universal, which every living being, not just every human being, but every single living being is looking for. And this is what I want to go to now. And the best way I was thinking, okay, well, we can talk about many things. But what I'd like to do is to read something, and then we'll see where we go from there about talking further. But this may be enough. So this is from a work called the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which translates into English as the nectar of devotion. So, Madhulila was talking about on Thursday, we're having a Krishna Bhakti evening. So this is in connection with what is the perfection of yoga. So here's Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is my teacher's teacher, says in the introduction to this wonderful book. The basic principle of the living condition is that we have a general propensity to love someone. No one can live without loving someone else. This propensity is present in every living being. Even an animal like a tiger has this loving propensity, at least in a dormant state. And it is certainly present in every human being. The missing point, however, is where to repose our love so that everyone can become happy. At the present moment, the human society teaches one to love his country or family or his personal self. But there is no information where to repose this loving propensity so that everyone can become happy. That missing point is Krishna, or God, the Supreme Soul. We need to learn how to stimulate our original love for the Supreme and how to be situated in that position where we can enjoy our blissful life. In the primary stage, a child loves his parents, then his brothers and sisters, and as he daily grows up, he begins to love his family, society, community, country, nation, or even the whole of human society. But the loving propensity is not satisfied even by loving all human society. That loving propensity remains imperfectly fulfilled until we know who is the Supreme Beloved. Our love can be fully satisfied only when it is reposed in the Supreme. This love for the Supreme, for Krishna, is experienced in 5 different transcendental relationships. Our loving propensity expands just as a vibration of light or air expands, but we do not know where it ends. The science of yoga teaches us that loving every one of the living entities perfectly by the easy method of loving Krishna. The method is very simple, but one has to understand it with a cool head. We must learn how to perform the simple and natural method of loving Krishna, the Supreme Personality of the Absolute. If we learn how to love Krishna, then it is very easy to immediately and simultaneously love every living being. It is like pouring water on the root of a tree or supplying food to one's stomach. The method of pouring water on the root of a tree or supplying foodstuffs to the stomach is universally scientific and practical, as every one of us has experienced. Everyone knows well that when we eat something, or in other words, we put foodstuffs in the stomach, the energy created by such action is immediately distributed throughout the whole body. Similarly, when we pour water on the root, the energy thus created is immediately distributed throughout the entirety of even the largest tree. It is not possible to water the tree part by part, nor is it possible to feed the different parts of the body separately. The nectar of devotion, or the path of bhakti yoga, will teach us how to turn that one switch that will immediately brighten everything everywhere. One who does not know this method is missing the point of human life. As far as material necessities are concerned, the human civilization at the present moment is very much advanced in living comfortably. But still, we are not happy because we are missing the point. The material comforts of life alone are not sufficient to make us happy. The vivid example is America, the richest nation of the world. Having all facilities for material comfort is producing a class of people completely confused and frustrated in their life. So Bhaktivedanta Swami goes on to say, I am appealing herein to such confused people to learn the art of devotional service, the art of bhakti yoga, as directed in this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And I am sure that the fire of material existence burning within their hearts will be immediately extinguished. The root of our dissatisfaction is that our dormant, loving propensity has not been fulfilled, despite our great advancement in a materialistic way of life. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu will give us practical hints how we can live in this material world, perfectly engage in bhakti, devotional service, and thus fulfill all of our desires in this life and in the next. This teaching of bhakti is not presented to condemn any way of materialistic life, but the attempt is to give information to people in general how to love Krishna. One may live without material discomfort, but at the same time he should learn the art of loving the Supreme. At the present moment we are inventing so many ways to utilize our propensity to love, but factually we are missing the real point, Krishna. We are watering all the parts of the tree, but missing the tree's roots. We are trying to keep our body fit by all means, but we are neglecting to supply foodstuffs to the stomach. Missing Krishna means missing oneself also. Real self-realization and realization of Krishna go together simultaneously. For example, seeing oneself in the morning means seeing the sunrise also. Without seeing the sunshine, no one can see himself. Similarly, unless one has realized the Supreme, Krishna, there is no question of self-realization. So the goal of yoga, the practice of bhakti yoga, is meant to free us from the root cause of all anxiety by reawakening our normal, eternal, spiritual happiness. The process is simple. Meditation upon the name, form, activities and qualities of Krishna. Krishna is the Vedic name for the Supreme Soul, or the Supreme Person, the source of our existence and the source of all pleasure. Krishna is known by many different names in different cultures, but all genuine spiritual traditions agree that there is only one Supreme Soul. The goal of Bhakti Yoga is to recover our natural sense of connectedness, yoga, with that one Supreme Soul by serving him with love and devotion, or bhakti. So there's so much there, and it's not our purpose to go into any more in depth today, because it would take too long and we'd miss out on our kirtan. So that is simply put, when we, just for those who may not have been to many of our programs before, when we speak of Krishna, we're not speaking of any sectarian or limited concept of the Absolute. When we say Krishna, this is one of the unlimited millions of names that refer to that one supreme original cause of all causes. Krishna means the all-attractive. This is one of the unlimited names of the one Supreme Soul. So when we speak of Krishna, we're not speaking of a Hindu god, who is different than a Christian god, or the god of the Muslim faith, or the Jewish faith. We're speaking of that one original Supreme Soul, from whom everything and everyone has come. And this is one of the many beautiful names of the Supreme. So bhakti, love, is the natural perfection of life. It is the perfection of yoga. And at the point of death, whatever love and devotion, whatever the spiritual consciousness, the relationship that we have cultivated in this life between ourselves and the Supreme Soul, Krishna or God, is actually what will help me at the point of death. So therefore it is the ultimate benefit. It brings happiness, joy, satisfaction, fulfillment, meaning, purpose to our life as we travel through our journey of life now. And then at the time of death, of leaving this body, it brings that ultimate benefit. It helps us to transcend this wheel of samsara, which is repeated birth, diseases, old age, and death. And we are resituated in our natural, loving condition, in harmony, in connection with the Supreme Soul. So at the point of death, we do not take on another material body. We go back to the eternal spiritual realm because of our attachment to the Supreme. So if you want to list the benefits of yoga, this is the ultimate perfection of the yoga system. And everything else in the yoga system is there to help support our journey to this perfection of yoga. So if you'd like to engage in some more yoga, this coming Thursday at 7:30 at our yoga centre at Nolly's Beach, 7:30 to 9, we have our Krishna Bhakti evening. Thank you very much.